Alright, here's the Diletta Mio, a machine by Seattle Coffee Gear's house brand Diletta. It's roughly, if not 99% based on the quick mill Pippa, as you can tell by the resemblance. But it features a slightly smaller brew boiler at 400 milliliters as opposed to the 450 milliliter brew boiler in the Pippa. But it has a thermoblock heating element for the steaming function and still features a no-burn steam wand like the Pippa, but this eliminates the need for switching back and forth between temperatures on the dual-use boiler and the Pippa. In my opinion, this is a great home machine that provides every feature you would need for someone wanting great espresso, great milk drinks, but more so for someone who is focused on espresso rather than milk drinks. If you want a great milk drink making espresso machine, then you should look into a heat exchanger or dual boiler, something that will give you a little bit more power. Another way this deviates from the Pippa is it has a built-in PID controller to help keep the coffee brew boiler temperature stable. And one feature that I really appreciate about this is the fact that the brew boiler displays the actual temperature. The brew boiler, or the PID, displays the actual temperature the brew boiler is, not the set temperature. So you can see in every way that it varies. Because PIDs are the best way to control temperature that we have currently in espresso machines, but they're still not going to be able to hold that temperature 100% of the time. So if it overshoots a little bit, you can be aware. If it undershoots, you can be aware. You can also see that there are these buttons here rather than the switches on the Pippa. And the buttons are really nice. They have a nice clicking sensation when you click them. And they're not mushy at all, so they don't really give you a lack of tactile feedback in using the machine like I thought might be the case coming from the Pippa with the really nice clicking switches. But other than that, the machines are very similar. They have the same components from Quick Mill, and there's been a lot of online reports of these machines not working or arriving damaged. And so this machine actually has a highest rank, I believe, in an online survey of most returned espresso machines in 30 days or something like that. And I think this is due to a bad shipment of machines more so than the machine itself, because I've been using this machine for a week so far, and we'll get into some issues that it had when it first arrived, but after that there's been hardly anything wrong with it. So I purchased this machine from eBay from Seattle Coffee Gear's returns outlet, and it was stated as fully functioning, returns with a slight blemish here. There's a scratch and there's a little dent on the drip tray in the top, neither of which was a big issue for me. So I went ahead and purchased it. And when it arrived, I was super excited because this is very similar to the Pippa, which I've owned previously and really loved. And it did not work. I could turn on the brew boiler and nothing, well, not the brew boiler, but the brew pump, and nothing would come out even after waiting 45 seconds for the first fill. Made sure there was plenty of water in the reservoir, and it just would not fill. So after looking up some online solutions, because I really didn't want to return this machine, I discovered that these vibratory pumps can sometimes become airlocked. Now, Seattle Coffee Gear said that they had tested it when they got it back from the original purchaser and that it was fully working. So I trust that they did test this when it came in at their warehouse and verified that it was working. And somewhere in shipping, the pump became airlocked, or maybe one of the tubes wasn't fully submerged or something before. Regardless, the fix was actually pretty easy. I saw a YouTube video on it, and basically you can take something like a turkey baster or anything that forces air or water into a specific spot and force some water into the tube inlet that feeds the vibratory pump for the brew boiler. And yeah, I did that with this little rocket air blower that I have for cleaning up that I got with some coffee appliance. I can't really remember. And it worked just fine after that, and it's been a breeze ever since. So if you know about the Quick Melt Pippa, as a lot of people do, it's a very similar machine, and oddly enough, the Quick Melt Pippa is one of those touted machines from Whole Latte Love, and here's Seattle Coffee Gear producing a very similar machine under their house brand. So I have a lot of confidence in Quick Melt and in the Pippa and Diletta because they're both used by these two big rival coffee retailers to produce sales for them. So that kind of gives me a vote of confidence. This is the original portafilter, and it's great, and it's double spouted. It feels great, but as all original portafilters are destined to become a back flushing portafilter, I have purchased a cheap Amazon wood handled, bottomless portafilter. And this is just a disc that I use to keep my machine clean more than anything. I don't think it really adds that much to the actual coffee end result, but I like that it keeps the group head clean. So let's go ahead and pull a shot. I like to, you can see it's at 194, so it's slightly under, but I like to give it a little bit of flush before, just to make sure everything in the brew head is nice. And this is a saturated brew group design where the brew boiler is sitting right here, right on top of the brew head. So you know that the temperature stability is going to be just super awesome, and it's not going to deviate too much within the group head from what the boiler is. So I trust these numbers, and there's actually parameters that you can go in and adjust yourself if you're not satisfied. This is a 10-degree offset right now, so what it's showing me is actually 10 degrees lower than what's actually happening in the boiler, which is 197. So it's 207 in the boiler, which means it's 197 at the group, and I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, I didn't use a SCASE device or anything to verify that, but I trust it. Also worth noting, this machine does have a pressure gauge, just like the Pippa, and a side-loading water reservoir, just like the Pippa, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and pull a shot. Just like the Pippa as well, very quiet vibratory pump. This machine and the Pippa that I used before it both have extremely quiet vibratory pumps. I think Quick Melt uses a pulsar attachment or something like that to keep them quiet, and they really do. The Lilith Bianca that I owned had what do you call it? Not a vibratory pump, but the other pump that's popular in espresso machines, and it's about this loud. This is not any quieter or louder than the rotary pump that was in the Bianca. So I haven't quite got my coffee dialed in. You can see I went from 19 grams to 37 and 51, but this coffee that I'm using tastes pretty great regardless. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. You got great modeling and character. Check that out. It's fantastic. So now I'm going to steam some milk, and we'll pour cappuccino. This is the biggest thing I think people are going to have against the Diletta Mio. It's got a thermoblock steamer, and like I said, if you don't do a whole lot of milk drinks, then this is going to be fine. This is about 6 to 7 ounces of milk. I have the steam thermoblock turned on already, so it's already heated up, and it doesn't take a lot of energy to heat up those thermoblocks compared to boilers. It's instant. Once it's heated up, it's instant. I don't know how long it would take, but I have done it before, just hitting the button on the side to turn on the thermoblock. I waited like a minute and the steam seemed pretty good. So it's quick to heat up whether or not you have the thermoblock power on or not. Another thing I really like about the thermoblock that's in there is you don't hear that thump, 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 thump like you do in a lot of thermoblock machines. It's just steam coming out, and you hear a little bit of a pump feeding the thermoblock. Super quiet. And I would say my milk is about steamed. It's plenty warm for me. Just purging. This is a no burn steam wand, so it's easy to clean. But you also want to purge your steam wand after. And it's super easy. I mean, that's just like one of the best steaming experiences. Yeah, I've got great milk texture, if you can see that. I'm going to pour a little cappuccino. Let's see if I got any latte art skills left. Probably not. I know a lot of people are pouring into other pitchers to create their latte art. It's something I have not tried. All right, well, there's something. It's tiny. But I'm not, like I said, I don't make latte art or lattes very often, so I'm not great at it. But it can do it, as you can clearly see. So yeah, ultimately it's a great machine, and I'm actually choosing to keep the Mio over this Silvia Pro I have over here. Not because the Silvia Pro is bad by any means, but because it's kind of overkill for what I need. The Diletta Mio is slightly smaller. I love the thermoblock. It's easy to heat up and doesn't use a lot of energy. And this does everything I need it to do. So I'm going to stick with the Mio for now, and I'll probably release a update later on about how I'm feeling about it in a few months or so.